What if I told you that a man's true intentions aren't just in his actions, but in the questions he asks you? Intrigue. You should be, because here's the truth. When a man genuinely wants to be with you, his curiosity becomes your compass. It's not about casual interest or fleeting attraction, it's about deep, intentional investment. But here's the catch, most of us miss these clues because we're too caught up in superficial signs. Have you ever found yourself wondering if a man is truly into you? Maybe you've fallen into the trap of chasing his attention or overanalyzing his every move. But what if the answers lie not in his silence, but in the words he chooses when he's with you? This isn't another run-of-the-mill dating advice piece. We're diving into the psychology behind the questions that matter, questions that reveal his heart, his priorities, and his willingness to build something real with you. And once you understand these, you'll stop second-guessing yourself and start spotting the signs of real, lasting connection. Stick with me, because by the end of this, you'll uncover 5 transformative questions every man asks when he's serious about being with you. These questions aren't just about him, they're about you, your happiness, and your future. They're powerful, practical, and will change the way you view relationships forever. Let's start with the first and most fundamental question. What makes you happy? 1. What makes you happy? Have you ever had someone look into your eyes, genuinely curious, and ask, what makes you happy? At first glance, it may seem like a simple question, but the depth behind it is staggering. When a man truly wants to be with you, this is one of the first things he'll want to know. Why? Because your happiness is his compass. It guides him in understanding you, connecting with you, and building a foundation of love that lasts. Think about it. Happiness isn't just about fleeting moments of joy or laughter. It's about the little things that light up your soul, the passions that make your heart race, and the dreams that keep you up at night. A man who asks this question isn't just making small talk, he's mapping out your inner world. But here's the twist, how often do you know the answer to this question? Many of us rush through life, chasing expectations or pleasing others, without stopping to consider what truly brings us joy. This is why this question is so powerful. It forces you to reflect on yourself, to know what fuels your soul. When a man asks this, he's saying, teach me how to love you in a way that matters. He's ready to put in the effort, but only if you're willing to open up and share. Does he notice the way your eyes light up when you talk about your favorite book? Or how your entire demeanor changes when you're doing something you love? That's not just attraction, it's attentiveness. But let's go deeper. Have you ever felt like a man should know what makes you happy without you having to spell it out? It's a common misconception that love means mind reading. In reality, a man who asks is a man who's willing to learn. And that willingness is worth so much more than empty assumptions. Let me ask you this. Do you prioritize your happiness in relationships? Or do you find yourself shrinking your desires to accommodate someone else's? The Stoic dating philosophy teaches us to focus on what we can control, our own emotions, values, and actions. A man who aligns with Stoicism will seek to understand what fulfills you, not to manipulate or control, but to nurture and support. And here's the beauty of this question. It's not just about what makes you happy now. A man who wants to be with you will dig deeper. He'll ask, what dreams do you have for the future? Or what brings you peace when life gets tough? These questions aren't just romantic, they're practical. He's figuring out how to build a partnership where your happiness is a priority. Now, let's get real for a moment. Have you ever been with someone who didn't care what made you happy? Maybe they assumed they knew best, or worse, they never asked at all. Reflect on how that made you feel. Contrast that with a man who actively seeks to bring joy into your life, who listens when you share, and who remembers the details because they matter to him. When a man takes the time to ask and listen, he's showing emotional maturity. He's demonstrating that he's not just here for the surface-level connection, he's here for you. And isn't that what we all want? Someone who doesn't just see us, but truly understands us. As you think about this question, consider this. Are you ready to let someone see what makes you happy? It requires vulnerability, honesty, and self-awareness. But when you do, you create a space for love to flourish. So the next time a man asks what makes you happy, don't brush it off as a casual inquiry. See it for what it is, an invitation to deepen your connection. Answer with truth, with passion, and with clarity. Because the right man won't just ask, he'll act. Are you beginning to see how powerful these questions can be? Stay tuned, because the next question is just as transformative. What will a man ask about the people who matter most to you? Let's explore this together in the next section. 2. Who are the people that matter to you? If a man genuinely wants to be with you, one question will naturally surface in his mind. Who are the people that matter most to you? This isn't idle curiosity, it's a direct insight into your heart and your world. Think about it. The relationships you hold dear reflect your values, your history, and the people who have shaped you. When he asks this, it's not just about understanding you better, it's about figuring out how he can fit into your universe. Let's start with a fundamental truth. No one exists in isolation. Your life is a tapestry of connections, family, friends, mentors, and maybe even colleagues, each playing a unique role. When a man asks about these people, he's showing a deep respect for the support system that has helped you become the person you are today. He's acknowledging that loving you means embracing the community that surrounds you. Now, pause for a moment and think, has anyone ever asked you this question before? And if they did, how deeply did they listen? Did they follow up with interest, or did they brush it off as trivial? A man who truly wants to be with you won't just ask out of politeness. He'll listen intently, remembering names, stories, and the roles these people play in your life. Why? Because he knows that understanding the people you care about brings him closer to understanding you. But let's take this one step further. Imagine a man not only asking about your family and friends, but actively wanting to meet them, learn about them, and even build relationships with them. Doesn't that tell you everything you need to know about his intentions? Here's the thing. Your circle often acts as a mirror to your own values. If you're close to your family, it might reveal that you prioritize loyalty and connection. If you have a tight-knit group of friends, it could indicate your trust and commitment to relationships. A man who's paying attention to these details is trying to decode how he can earn his place in your life, not just with you, but with the people who matter most to you. But let's be honest, this question also comes with challenges. What if your family dynamic is complicated, or you've had friendships that ended painfully? Do you share these vulnerabilities, or do you hold back, afraid that they might scare him away? Here's where the Stoic dating philosophy comes into play. Stoicism teaches us to own our truths without fear of judgment. If he's the right man for you, he'll accept every part of your story, the good, the messy, and the complex. Think about this. When a man is serious about you, he won't flinch at the complications. He'll lean in, wanting to know how he can support you. He'll ask about the people who hurt you, not to pry, but to understand what shaped your boundaries. He'll ask about the people you admire so he can learn what qualities inspire you. Now let's get practical. How do you spot the difference between genuine interest and superficial politeness? Pay attention to how he reacts to your answers. Does he remember the little details, like your mom's favorite hobby or your best friend's career aspirations? Does he ask follow-up questions or try to connect with these people in meaningful ways? True interest is reflected in action, not just words. For example, let's say you mention your sibling loves a particular sports team. A man who's genuinely invested might casually bring it up in conversation later, or even suggest watching a game together to bond. These small gestures speak volumes about his desire to not only be with you, but also integrate himself into your life. And let's not overlook this. Asking about your people is also a way for him to gauge your availability for deeper connection. If you're surrounded by strong, healthy relationships, it signals to him that you're emotionally mature and value meaningful bonds. On the flip side, if your circle is filled with toxic dynamics, he might tread carefully, not out of judgment, but because he wants to protect both you and the potential relationship from unnecessary drama. Here's where the magic lies. This question isn't just about him learning about your world. It's also a mirror for you to reflect on whether he's the kind of person you want in your life. When he meets your family or friends, does he show respect? Does he adapt to the energy of the room, or does he try to dominate it? His interactions with your people reveal a lot about his character. But let's flip the script for a moment. Have you ever asked him about the people who matter most in his life? This exchange is a two-way street. When you ask about his family, his friends, or even his mentors, you're showing him that you care just as deeply. Pay attention to how he talks about these relationships. Does he speak with warmth and respect? Or does he seem distant or dismissive? His answers will reveal how he approaches connection and loyalty. It's important to note that this question isn't a one-time thing. As your relationship deepens, his curiosity about your circle will grow. He'll want to know how he can contribute to your relationships, whether it's joining a family tradition or supporting you through a friendship conflict. This level of involvement is a clear sign that he sees a future with you, one that includes the people you love. So what's the takeaway here? If a man asks you about the people who matter most, he's not just interested in you, he's interested in us. He's laying the groundwork for a partnership that respects your individuality while weaving his life into yours. And isn't that what love is all about? Before we move on to the next transformative question, let me ask you this. Are you paying attention to the questions that reveal his heart? Sometimes the answers we seek are right in front of us, hidden in the words we might overlook. Now, if you're loving this journey into the psychology of connection, don't forget to let us know. Like this video and drop a number 1 in the comments if you're feeling inspired. And if you're ready for more insights that will transform your perspective on relationships, hit that subscribe button and join our growing community. The next question digs even deeper into the core of your relationship. What does a man truly want to know about your future? Let's explore this in the next section. 3. What do you want for your future? Have you ever noticed that when a man truly wants to be with you, he becomes curious about one thing above all else? Your future. This isn't just casual curiosity, it's a profound way of saying, I'm thinking about a life with you. Do our paths align? If he's asking you this, it means he's no longer in the realm of let's see where this goes. He's thinking long-term. But what makes this question so transformative? It's because your future represents your dreams, your goals, and the person you're becoming. And when a man wants to know what you envision for your future, he's not just asking about your ambitions, he's wondering if he can be part of them. Let's pause for a moment. Have you ever been in a relationship where the other person didn't seem to care about your plans, your goals, or your vision for the future? How did that feel? Did it make you question their commitment or their ability to truly support you? Compare that to the energy of a man who sits you down and asks, what do you want for your life? It's night and day, isn't it? A man asking this question isn't just interested in what you'll accomplish, he's invested in how he can contribute to your journey. This is where Stoicism and Stoic dating principles come into play. A man grounded in Stoicism knows that life is unpredictable and ever-changing. He's not looking for guarantees, he's looking for alignment. Does your vision for your life complement his? Are you moving in a direction that makes sense together? But here's the kicker, this question also challenges you to be clear about your own desires. Let's be honest, how often do we take the time to articulate what we want for our future? Too often we let life sweep us along, reacting to circumstances instead of intentionally creating the path we want to follow. So when he asks this, it's not just a moment of connection, it's an invitation for reflection. What's your answer to this question? Is your vision specific, or is it still a work in progress? If it's the latter, that's okay. The beauty of a man who asks this question is that he's willing to explore with you. He doesn't need you to have all the answers, but he does need to know that you're willing to dream, to plan, and to grow. And here's where it gets exciting. When a man truly cares, he won't just ask about your dreams, he'll start making plans that include them. For example, if you tell him you want to live in a certain city or pursue a certain career, pay attention to how he responds. Does he light up with enthusiasm, brainstorming ways to make it work? Or does he seem hesitant, treating your dreams as a barrier instead of an opportunity? Here's a secret. A man who's ready to commit to you won't see your future as separate from his. He'll view it as something you can build together. but this doesn't mean he'll lose himself in the process. True partnership isn't about one person sacrificing their dreams for the other. It's about finding ways to support and enhance each other's goals. Now, let me ask you something. When was the last time you asked him about his future? This question isn't a one-way street. A man who's serious about you will also want to share his plans, his ambitions, and his vision. Listen carefully when he does. Does he speak with clarity and passion, or does he seem unsure and unfocused? His answer will tell you a lot about whether he's ready for a serious relationship. But let's go even deeper. A man who asks about your future is also indirectly asking about your values. What's important to you? What drives you? Are you more focused on career, family, travel, or personal growth? Your answers reveal not just your plans, but also your priorities, and he's paying close attention. And let's not forget, this question also tests compatibility. You might both have amazing dreams, but if they're pulling you in opposite directions, it could be a red flag. This is why alignment is so crucial. For instance, if you dream of living a quiet life in the countryside and he dreams of building a fast-paced career in the city, these differences need to be addressed early on. Here's a powerful exercise. Take some time to write down your vision for the next 5 or 10 years. Be specific. Where do you see yourself living? What kind of work do you want to be doing? How do you want to feel in your daily life? The clearer you are about your future, the easier it will be to recognize whether he fits into that picture. Now, back to him. A man who asks about your future also wants to know if you're someone who can adapt and grow with him. Life is full of surprises, unexpected changes in career, health, family, or even geography. A man grounded in Stoicism understands this and values a partner who can navigate life's uncertainties with grace and resilience. But here's a little warning. Not every man who asks about your future has pure intentions. Some might use this question to gauge how much they can control or influence your decisions. This is why it's so important to know yourself and your boundaries. A man who truly loves you will never ask you to shrink your dreams to make him more comfortable. So, how can you tell if his curiosity is genuine? Look for consistency. Does he bring up your future plans in different conversations, showing a steady interest in your growth? Does he celebrate your wins, big and small, as if they were his own? A man who's truly invested in your future will make you feel supported, not pressured. Let me leave you with this thought. When a man asks about your future, he's not just learning about your plans, he's envisioning how he can be part of them. And that's powerful. If you're finding this journey into the psychology of connection fascinating, let us know. Like this video and comment number 1 below to show your support. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more insights that will transform your approach to love and relationships. The next question takes us to an even deeper level of emotional connection. How can I make your life better? Stay with me, we're just getting started. 4. How can I make your life better? If a man genuinely wants to be with you, he won't just ask what makes you happy or what you envision for your future. He'll take it one step further and ask, how can I make your life better? Think about that for a moment. It's not just a question, it's a declaration of intention. It's him saying, I see you, I value you, and I want to contribute positively to your life. But let's pause here. How many people in your life have ever genuinely asked you this? Probably not as many as you'd hope. That's why this question stands out so much. It separates the men who are casually interested from the ones who are ready to invest in a meaningful, long-lasting connection. This question signals emotional maturity and self-awareness. A man who asks this isn't looking to control or fix you. He's looking to support you in ways that matter. And that's a key distinction. He doesn't want to impose his idea of what you need. He wants to learn directly from you. Let's get into the depth of what this means. Asking how he can make your life better requires vulnerability on his part. Why? Because it forces him to step outside his ego and acknowledge that relationships are about giving, not just taking. A man who genuinely asks this is practicing one of the core tenets of Stoicism, focusing on what he can control, his actions, his intentions, and his ability to support you. Now, let's flip the script for a moment. How often do you allow someone to help you? If you're like many women, you might be so used to doing everything on your own that the idea of someone asking how they can make your life better feels foreign or even uncomfortable. But here's the thing. Allowing someone to support you isn't a sign of weakness, it's a sign of trust. When he asks this question, he's not looking for grand gestures or unrealistic expectations. He's asking because he genuinely wants to lighten your load, even in small ways. Maybe it's helping you tackle a stressful work project, or simply being there to listen when you've had a tough day. The specifics don't matter as much as the intention behind the question. But here's where it gets tricky. Many people hear this question and freeze, unsure how to respond. So let me ask you, if someone asked you today, how can I make your life better? What would your answer be? If you're not sure, that's okay. This question requires introspection. It forces you to think about what you truly need, not just from him, but from life itself. Here's a little secret. The way you answer this question tells him just as much about you as his asking does about him. If you respond with clarity and honesty, it shows that you know yourself and your needs. If you shy away or brush it off, it might signal to him that you're not ready to open up. Let's dive deeper into why this question matters so much. In a healthy relationship, both partners are constantly looking for ways to add value to each other's lives. This isn't about material things, it's about emotional and practical support. A man who asks how he can make your life better is essentially saying, I want to be a partner you can rely on. But let's not romanticize this question without addressing the flip side. What happens if a man asks this, but doesn't follow through? Words are powerful, but actions are what truly matter. If he asks how he can help but never shows up when you need him, it's a red flag. On the other hand, if he consistently backs up his words with action, no matter how small, it's a clear sign of his commitment. For example, let's say you tell him that you're feeling overwhelmed with work. A man who genuinely cares won't just nod and move on. He'll find a way to support you. Maybe he'll offer to bring you dinner so you don't have to cook, or he'll send you a thoughtful text during the day to remind you to take a break. These small acts show that he's not just hearing you, he's listening. Now, let's talk about how this question ties into the bigger picture. When a man asks how he can make your life better, he's also subtly asking, what role can I play in your journey? He's envisioning a partnership where his presence adds value. But this isn't just about him being your hero, it's about mutual support. In a truly balanced relationship, this question flows both ways. Have you ever asked him how you can make his life better? If not, now's the time to start. A man who feels supported is a man who will move mountains for you. When you both prioritize each other's well-being, you create a relationship that's built on trust, respect, and mutual care. But let's be real. Not every man will ask this question. Some might shy away from it, afraid of what your answer might reveal about their own limitations. Others might avoid it because they're not ready for the level of commitment it implies. That's why it's so important to recognize the significance of this question when it does come up. Here's another layer to consider. How do you identify a man who asks this with genuine intent versus someone who's just going through the motions? The answer lies in consistency. A man who's truly invested will ask this question more than once, in different ways, and at different stages of your relationship. He'll continuously check in, adapting his efforts as your needs evolve. Think about this. When he asks how he can make your life better, it's not just about solving problems, it's about showing up. It's about being present, attentive, and willing to grow alongside you. And that's the kind of man who turns a relationship into a partnership. Now, let me ask you, have you ever been with someone who never asked this question? How did that make you feel? Did it leave you wondering whether they truly cared or whether they saw your needs as an inconvenience? Contrast that with the energy of a man who's eager to contribute to your happiness, your growth, and your peace. Before we move on, let's take a moment to celebrate the men who ask this question with sincerity. They're rare, but they're out there. And when you find one, hold on to him, because he's showing you that love is about more than words. It's about action. If you're enjoying this exploration into the psychology of connection, don't forget to let us know. Like this video and comment number 1 below to show your support. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button so you never miss another insight that could transform your approach to love and relationships. The final question is perhaps the most intimate of all. What is your love language? Stay tuned because this is where everything comes together. 5. What is your love language? Imagine this. A man looks at you with genuine curiosity and asks, "What is your love language?" At that moment, he's not just asking the question, he's unlocking the door to deeper emotional intimacy. This is where his intentions become crystal clear. He's not just interested in being with you, he's determined to love you the way you need to be loved. This question isn't a cliche, it's a master key to your heart. When a man truly wants to be with you, understanding your love language becomes his blueprint for showing care, devotion, and connection. But let's not rush. Let's dive into why this question is so transformative and how it shapes the foundation of a relationship. First, let's unpack what love language really means. Dr. Gary Chapman's The 5 Love Languages popularized the idea that everyone expresses and receives love in different ways. The 5 love languages, words of affirmation, acts of service, receiving gifts, quality time, and physical touch, are not just preferences, they're the core of how we feel valued and appreciated. When a man asks this question, he's essentially saying, "Teach me how to love you." He's not assuming that his way of expressing affection will automatically resonate with you. Instead, he's taking the time to discover what makes you feel most cherished. But let me ask you something. How many relationships fail because people assume they know how their partner wants to be loved? Too many. And the reason is simple. What works for one person doesn't necessarily work for another. If you've ever felt unloved or underappreciated in a relationship, chances are your love languages weren't aligned. This is why his question matters so much. It's a sign of emotional maturity, self-awareness, and humility. He's acknowledging that love isn't one size fits all. It's deeply personal. And by asking you to share your love language, he's committing to making you feel seen, heard, and valued. Now, let's go deeper. When a man truly wants to know your love language, he's not just asking to check a box. He's asking because he's planning to act on what you tell him. Let's say your love language is quality time. A man who's serious about you won't just spend time with you, he'll make that time meaningful. He'll plan dates that align with your interests, listen intently when you talk, and prioritize being present over distractions. Or maybe your love language is acts of service. A man who truly wants to love you will notice when you're overwhelmed and step in to help, whether it's taking care of chores, running errands, or simply doing something thoughtful to ease your stress. His actions will speak louder than words because he's tuned into what makes you feel loved. But here's the twist. This question also reveals a lot about him. When he asks about your love language, he's inviting a reciprocal conversation. He's opening the door for you to ask about his love language too, and that's where the real magic happens. When two people commit to learning and speaking each other's love languages, the connection becomes unbreakable. So what happens if you don't know your love language? Don't worry, you're not alone. Many people haven't taken the time to reflect on how they feel most loved. If this sounds like you, now is the perfect opportunity to explore. Think about the moments in past relationships or even friendships that made you feel deeply appreciated. Was it when someone gave you a heartfelt compliment? When they showed up for you in a time of need? When they held your hand during a tough conversation? Your answers will reveal your love language. But let's not ignore the challenges. Learning and speaking each other's love languages takes effort, especially if they're different. For example, if his love language is physical touch, but yours is words of affirmation, there might be moments of disconnect. The key is communication and compromise. When both partners are willing to meet each other halfway, the relationship grows stronger. Now, let me ask you, have you ever been in a relationship where your love language was ignored? How did that make you feel? Did it leave you questioning your worth or doubting the connection? Contrast that with a relationship where your partner made an intentional effort to love you the way you needed. The difference is night and day, isn't it? When a man asks about your love language, he's not just interested in the short term. He's thinking about the future, about how to build a relationship that's fulfilling, sustainable, and deeply satisfying for both of you. This ties back to Stoicism, which emphasizes intentionality in every aspect of life. A Stoic man knows that love isn't just about passion, it's about cultivating a bond that withstands life's challenges. But here's the truth. Not every man will ask this question. Some might think it's unnecessary, or they might assume they already know how to love you. This is why it's so important to recognize the value of a man who takes the time to ask, and more importantly, to listen. Let's flip the script for a moment. Have you ever asked a man about his love language? If not, this is your chance to start a meaningful dialogue. When you ask what makes you feel most loved, you're showing him that his needs matter just as much as yours. And when you both commit to speaking each other's love languages, you create a relationship built on mutual respect and understanding. But let's not stop there. When he learns your love language, watch how he incorporates it into your everyday life. Does he send you sweet texts if your love language is words of affirmation? Does he plan quality time together if that's what you value most? A man who's serious about you won't just ask once, he'll continually check in, making sure he's loving you in the way that feels most genuine to you. Before we wrap up, let me leave you with this. Love isn't just about chemistry or attraction, it's about intention. When a man asks about your love language, he's showing you that he's not here for superficial connection. He's here to learn, to grow, and to love you in the way you deserve. If this resonates with you, let us know. Like this video and comment number 1 below if you're inspired by this journey into love and connection. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you can continue exploring the psychology of relationships with us. Now that we've covered all 5 questions, let's reflect on what they reveal about a man's true intentions. Stick around for the closing thoughts. They'll tie everything together beautifully. Congratulations! You've just uncovered the 5 transformative questions that a man asks when he truly wants to be with you. These aren't just random curiosities, they're profound windows into his soul, his intentions, and his willingness to build a life with you. Let's take a moment to reflect on what we've learned. These questions are more than just words. They are the building blocks of a healthy, intentional, and deeply fulfilling relationship. A man who asks them isn't just interested, he's invested. But here's the catch. Recognizing these questions is only the first step. The real magic happens when you engage with them authentically. Relationships thrive when both partners are willing to be vulnerable, honest, and open. So, let me ask you, are you ready to let someone truly see you? To share your dreams, your values, and your heart? If you've ever wondered what sets apart a casual connection from a meaningful partnership, it's this. The willingness to learn and grow together. The man who asks these 5 questions isn't perfect, no one is. But his curiosity, his care, and his actions show that he's striving to be the best partner he can be. Now, here's where you come in. When you meet someone who asks these questions, don't take them for granted. Lean in, share your truth. Because the right man won't just ask, he'll listen, he'll learn, and he'll act. And together, you'll build a relationship that stands the test of time. Before we go, let me leave you with one final thought. Love is not about finding someone who completes you. It's about finding someone who complements you, who challenges you to grow, and who loves you for exactly who you are. If this video inspired you, we'd love to hear from you. Like this video and comment number 1 below to let us know you're ready to embrace these transformative insights. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss another deep dive into the psychology of love and connection. Thank you for joining us on this journey. Remember, the love you deserve is out there. Stay patient, stay open, and never settle for less than someone who asks the right questions. Until next time, take care and keep building the life and love you've always dreamed of. See you in the next video.